While classrooms across eastern North Carolina stand empty and students and teachers are tucked away at home, we know a great secret. Learning can happen anywhere. In fact, learning can happen everywhere. Welcome to Eastern Carolina Education Connection, a partnership with WNCT and Pitt County Schools. We're here to connect and reconnect with students, teachers, parents, and community during this unique and remarkable time in our state's history by helping you learn from right where you are.
Miss Ashley here, and look who joined us today. It's Poppy.
Hey.
We have got an awesome story today. Click, clack.
Moo.
Yes, Doreen Cronin and Betsy Lewin got together to create this book published by our good friends at Simon Schuster. And it is a hilarious story about Farmer Brown, who has a whole nother problem. This time it's his cows. Not only can they read, they can type, and they want something. Their barn is cold, so they want to type up some notes to Farmer Brown to see if they can persuade him to fixing the barn for them. So let's read to find out how these cows solve their problem. We have Letitia Bradley that comes in today to read with us from kindergarten at Wintergreen Primary, and we have Bethany Haskins, the art teacher at Wintergreen Primary, and she's going to show us how to use watercolors to create a scene at the farm. And we might get to meet a new friend today. Wonder who that might be. Let's join Miss Bradley right now in the Reading Corner. Take it away, Miss Bradley.
Thank you, Miss Ashley. I'm so excited to read this book to you today. Before we get started, I wanted to dedicate this book reading to my kindergarten class at Wintergreen Primary. I am missing you guys. The book I'm reading is Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long he hears click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Impossible. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Then he couldn't believe his eyes. He had a note, guys. Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. It was bad enough the cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. Sorry, we're closed. No milk today. Now, guys, it said that the cows had a typewriter. What is a typewriter? A typewriter is something like a computer, but a lot of us don't have them nowadays. And they said that they wanted some electric blankets. Those sound warm and cozy. No milk today, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. So now, guys, the cows are cold and the hens are cold. The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. Closed, no milk, no eggs. So now the cows and the hens are leaving notes. And that big word up there that says impatient, that means that they can't wait any longer for the blankets. No eggs, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Cows that type? Hens on strike? Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious. So it said the hens were on strike. That means that they weren't going to give the Farmer Brown any more eggs. And the big word here, furious, They were getting Farmer Brown was getting upset. Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Farmer Brown. So now Farmer Brown, he's typing up his own note to give to the cows and the hens. Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the cows. So here we have Duck. He's walking back to the barn to the cows to give them an ultimatum. Let's see what's going to happen, guys. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer. So out here outside the barn, we have the horse, the pig, the cat, the dog, and the sheep, and they said they were snooping. Snooping means they were being nosy. Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter. So, guys, the cows, they got their warm electric blankets, and the hens did too. The next morning, he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Clickety, clack, quack. Look, guys, the ducks got their diving board. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book. It was a pretty cool book. Thank you for joining me today. My good friend, Mrs. Haskins, is getting ready to show us how to bring the book to life in our own house.
Okay, friends, what time is it? It's wiggle time. Stand up, stretch out those muscles, get them going. Let's get ready to move with our special guest today.
Hello, my name is Mr. Dilday, and I am the physical education teacher over at Walcoats Elementary School, and I am here for your wiggle break. Today's lesson is going to be the wiggles. You're going to do exactly what I do. So everybody, go ahead and stand up and let's get started. We're going to start with our fingers because you've all been working on those electronic devices. So go ahead and start wiggling your fingers. Wiggling your fingers. There you go. And then wiggling your arms. Wiggling your arms. And keep the fingers wiggling. And keep the fingers wiggling. And go to the shoulders. And to the arms. And through your fingers. And then let it go on down through your body. And wiggling your hips. And wiggling your shoulders. And wiggling your arms. And wiggling your fingers. And let it go down to your knees. And down to your knees. And wiggling. And wiggling. And down through your toes. And down through your toes. Everybody's wiggling and feel it through your body. And now, everybody, reach up high, wiggle on up high. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. We're moving, we're getting that heart rate up. And then we're gonna go down low to the ground. A little dead cockroach, wiggling, wiggling, and back up. And then wiggle to the side, wiggle to the other side. And everybody pretend to hula hoop as you're wiggling. All right, well, that is our little wiggle break. The next thing I have for you is the PE challenge. My PE challenge for you today is juggling. Since we're all at home, I went and found something nice and easy for us to juggle. Some napkins. So we're gonna start off with one napkin, and you just toss it up and catch it. Toss it up and catch it. Toss it up and catch it. And then you can go to two napkins. Toss and catch. Toss and catch. Toss and catch. And then you can go to three napkins whenever you start to get really good. Two napkins in your one hand, and you're gonna toss and catch. going across, making those X's. Whoa, whoa. Yes, you'll see that the napkins float nicely for us to be able to juggle. There we go. And that's Mr. Deal Day with your wiggle break. Have a great day. Stay healthy and active.
Hello, artists and masterpiece makers. My name is Mrs. Haskins, and I am the art teacher at Wintergreen Primary. I'm really happy that you tuned into the show today because I am very inspired by Mrs. Bradley's reading of Click Clack Moo. Did you know that you could enjoy a story that you like longer than just the first time that you read it? Yes, you could read it and read it again and again and again, but there are more ways to enjoy it. You could create a song or a dance or even art projects based on your favorite story and their characters. Today, I'm going to show you how you can illustrate your favorite part of the story, or we can use our imaginations and creativity to make a brand new project with different animals and the things that they might ask their owners for. So what do you say, artists? Let's get started. Okay, artists and masterpiece makers, we need to start off by getting a white piece of paper and washable markers. You can draw with anything you like, a pencil, a pen. I'm just going to use a black crayon. And we're going to illustrate part of our story. I really enjoyed the part of the story where the cows were given blankets, so I'm going to illustrate that part. If you have a different idea, do it your way too. To make a cow, I'm going to start off with a rounded oval shape for the snout. My cow is going to be happy because he's been given the blankets. And cows also have nostrils, which are the holes that you pick your boogers in. Ha! Oop, just kidding, don't pick your boogers, it's gross. And then I can draw the eyeballs. And if you want to give your cow glasses, that's cool. If you want to give your cow hats, that's all right with me. I think I'm going to give my cow some hair. Don't forget to draw the curvy lines for the head. And details, like your cows have horns and ears. I'm going to use a straight line for the cow's back. And bring it down for a tail. That's kind of just a rectangle shape. Then I'm going to use an upside down Hershey kiss for the tail. And cows have 4 legs, so I'm going to draw 4 legs. Here's one with a hoof. Here's 2 rectangles with a hoof, 2 legs. Let me draw the 3rd leg. Perhaps it'll come down like this. Give it a hoof. And a big belly with an udder for the milk. Now the other leg would be on the other side of the body, so I'm just going to draw a tiny little hoof. Cows have spots, which are just blobs. Maybe I'll even give my cow one on its face. Ta-da! Now, do cows fly around on white pieces of paper? No. Let's draw where your cow lives. This cow is going to live on a farm, so let me draw the barn. That would make sense. Barns have big doors, so let me draw big doors. And you can decorate them any way you want. I'm choosing to decorate them with triangles. Triangles are Miss Haskins' favorite shape. They're easy. Maybe my second story has a window so I can see animals inside. And don't forget the roof. Now, I still have the problem of the items floating around, so let's draw the ground. I think my farm is going to live on a rolling hill and have a pathway from the barn to the pasture where the cows can roam. And my cow is smiling because he was given blankets, so I'm going to go ahead and draw the blanket shape. Let's go with a swirl. Maybe I'll even add the little yarn pieces at the end. The more details you add to your picture, the better it gets. Now is the fun part, coloring it. I could color it with markers, but today I'm going to actually show you an art magic trick using water and a paintbrush. I like to call it invisible paint. What I'll do is I'm going to actually trace instead of coloring. This is called outlining. I'll outline the things that I want in that color. So I want my barn to be red, so I'll outline it with red. If I want the grass to be green, I'll need to outline the grass with green. To save time, I've already finished outlining one. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And to make my markers into paint, I will use the fancy schmancy invisible paint, water. And I'm just going to take that water and touch the marker with it. And when I start gently rubbing the paper, the marker turns to paint. And it will work with all the different colors you've used. Let's look at the sky. And once again, I have finished one. So let's pretend like I've done that along the whole picture. Here's the finished piece. Isn't that spectacular? Using just invisible paint water and washable markers to turn a drawing into a painting. I think I like this so much I'll hang it up on my refrigerator. Something else you could do if you don't want to use markers and invisible paint is just use crayons. And instead of illustrating part of the storybook, in this picture, I just drew a new part of the story. If the piggies at the farm were going to ask the farmer for something, my imagination chose a bottle of chocolate syrup. Instead of rolling around in boring mud, they wanted to roll around in syrup. I think that sounds funny and delicious. Another way that I can do this art project is by using my imagination about my own pet. Let me find him really quick. Drake, where are you? He's crawling away from Miss Haskins. Let me grab him. Drake is a bearded dragon. Bearded dragons come from the desert. They like the heat. I chose to draw a picture of Drake. Ha ha ha! That's my buddy. Hey, buddy. What do you think? Do you look like that? Drake in my picture is asking Miss Haskins for a pair of sunglasses because in the desert it's always sunny. Isn't that funny? Drake and I really enjoyed making art projects with you today. I hope that you did too. Have fun, masterpiece makers!
Hi friends, we have a special treat today. We're going to be joining a surprise guest that's going to share some, you guessed it, some music with us today. So let's get ready to make some music with our rock star music teachers from Pitt County.
It came out of nowhere. Suddenly everything has changed. No buses, no hallways, no recess, school lunches. You wonder if it'd ever be the same. Here we are coming together, everyone doing their part. The teachers, the parents and students, it's a new start. We will stand, you're not alone. Working together, we'll help one another. We'll make it through the storm. We will stand together as one. We are Carolina strong. School looks so different. Learning from a distance can be hard. Keep trying, keep learning, keep going, 'cause that is who you are. Cafeteria's busy making lunches. Janitors are working hard at school. drivers, school staff are working hard for you. We will stand, you're not alone. Working together, we'll help one another, we'll make it through the storm. We will stand together as one. We are Carolina strong. It won't be easy, we can't do it on our own. But when we look back, we'll see how far we've gone. We will stand, you're not alone. Working together, we're helping each other, we'll make it through the storm. We will stand together as one. We are Carolina strong.
Hi, Mr. Smith. Thank you so much for joining us today and answering our questions. If you would, just take a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself and what was the inspiration behind writing your song, Carolina Strong?
I would have to say there was a couple things that inspired me to write the song. First and foremost, I'm an educator, a K-5 music teacher. I teach at Sam D. Bundy and HB Sugg. Paul's up. Whoop, whoop. And so I teach children music, and this is my 18th year, going on my 19th year, so I've been at it a little bit. And I love writing songs. And so I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about recording lessons and things like that. And he mentioned in passing that if I felt inspired to write a song, that would be awesome. And so that nudge caused me to think about how COVID-19 has disrupted everything. As an educator, it certainly has upended everything of how we go about teaching students. As a parent, having to stay home and guide our children through their learning process, which we have two wonderful kids that go to elementary school. And so as I began to sit down, I began to write down all the emotions that have come with COVID-19 and all the different situations. And so this picture began to come of this song. And so I would say, as a parent, as an educator, and it took a gentle nudge from a friend to kind of start thinking about it. So that was really my inspiration in writing the song.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So, in thinking back over your life, what was the first instrument that you played, and was it one that you chose to stick with, or did that instrument lead you to explore some other avenues in music?
Well, just like every fifth grader going into middle school, or most fifth graders going into middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, different change, different environment. And so that happened to me. I was living in Louisiana at the time, and I was going into middle school, and I wanted to play saxophone because of some of my favorite bands on the radio at the time, and I just love saxophone. So I signed up for band, and that was my first instrument, which I still play today. I love saxophone, alto saxophone. So if there's any students out there that are wondering if they should join band or orchestra or a chorus, do it. It will change your life, and it certainly changed mine. And so yeah, I stuck with playing the saxophone all the way through middle school, all the way through high school. In fact, I can still remember my first jazz band solo at a concert we were given, standing up and giving my solo in jazz band, playing the saxophone, and how awesome that was. I still remember my 6th grade concert, my first one, and what an amazing feeling when people come together and play different parts to make this beautiful picture of music. So I stuck with it all the way through middle school and high school, and that was my instrument in college. I went to Florida State University and played the saxophone all the way through college. And so yeah, I stuck with it, and loved it. I still love it. Saxophone's a great instrument, but there's anyway. But along the way, a couple years into high school, I picked up the guitar and started learning guitar. Every once in a while, a friend would teach me a different chord, and that led me to playing a little bit piano. Of course, when you go off to university and study music as a career, you're required to take piano lessons, which I'm not the world's greatest pianist. But so that kind of led to other things. I picked up the guitar, I played some piano, I play some hammered dulcimer, some harmonica, and so I would say the saxophone was kind of the instrument that got the ball rolling. And anyway, so music is amazing. It's an amazing tool. It's amazing creative adventure.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So as you think over your career as a musician, and I know you've had quite a career, what might be some of the things that you hold as your proudest moments as a musician?
I don't know. There's a couple things. One, my wife is a musician. She went to school to be a pianist. She's a very good pianist. And one of the things that I've loved, my wife and I were on staff at a church for about 10 years together. And to play with my wife as music every week has been one of the highlights. To play and create with her and to put music together. Another one, of course, is writing songs. I've written probably about 15, 20 songs over the years, and each song is different. I've written songs for Relay for Life. I've written for cancer research, and those have been touched by cancer. I've written songs for Children's Miracle Network. My son was the poster child for Children's Miracle Network about 10 years ago, and wrote a Children's Miracle Network song. So I don't know. I think that being a music teacher and working with my wife in music and writing songs, those are the highlights of being in music, and very grateful for all three of those opportunities.
Mr. Smith, thank you so much for coming and spending this time with us. We really value being able to look at life through the eyes of a musician. And I really like the way you've helped us see ways that we can have music in our own lives and maybe be musicians ourselves. And we want to give a big shout out to Sug Bundy. Paws up. We appreciate you sharing your music teacher with us today. I'm so glad we got to spend this time together on Eastern Carolina Education Connection. And I'm really looking forward to our next episode where we can learn and explore together from right where you are.
You can also connect with us on Facebook using the information below. We look forward to seeing you for our next episode.
It came out of nowhere. Suddenly everything has changed. No buses, no hallways, no recess, school lunches. You wonder if it'd ever be the same. Here we are coming together.